All right, guys, today section 6.4 is all about insurance, all of your health benefits, employee benefits, things like that. We're going to go through a lot of detail here in the beginning where we're just going to kind of talk, have some conversation. To be honest with you, just as long as you get a basic understanding of kind of what insurance and how it works is great. I'll be honest, when I first got my first teaching job, I had my own insurance, and I'm like, I don't know how to use any of this. Didn't understand anything. Like, they handed me the info, and I'm like, PPO, HMO, deductibles, all this. Heck if I knew. I didn't know what any of it was. Okay, so I learned a lot more just by learning all this stuff to teach you guys, right? Life teaches you a lot. All right, so again, we're going to kind of talk through some of this beginning stuff. So what are the benefits of a job? Obviously, you get paid money, right? You want your hourly rates. But also you have value-added options that an employer can choose to offer, okay? Not every job has all of these options. So you could have insurance, which we hope you do, health insurance, life insurance, disability insurance, paid vacation time, paid sick time. Some places call it PTO, paid time off, that's what that stands for. You could get paid holiday time, a retirement plan or a pension, stock ownership plans, or child care leave. Now, not every job offers all of that, okay? Workers' comp is something that's another part of the notes today. It's in there. All right, benefits are usually offered to full-time employees only. My mom used to work at a hospital before she retired, and her hospital was very well known for making sure she worked just under full-time hours. She was usually a couple hours shy of full-time. Why would they do that? They didn't have to pay her for all of those benefits because she wasn't considered full-time. So just be careful. Some jobs are kind of not nice about things like that. All right, so health insurance vocab. All right, covers all members of the immediate family, is a family health care. That will include you and everyone in your family. So right now, I'm assuming your insurance is underneath your mom or your dad, and they have family health care. It's covering them and all of the kids. Now, for me, I do not carry my own insurance, which I could get it, teaching here at Penna, but my husband's insurance is actually better. So I opt out of Penna's, and I'm on his, and he has a family plan for all of us. Now, Penna has a nice thing not all employers have, is they pay me twice a year a lump sum of money to not take their insurance. It's like an incentive to get off of theirs and go on someone else's, because it's cheaper for them as a district to just pay me a lump sum of cash to get me out of there instead of paying my insurance for the year. Yes. Well, yeah, I take the money. Yeah, they pay me in January and July. Yeah. So honestly, like my husband's insurance, he's a teacher also. Like he has really good insurance, but like the money that Penna pays me to not be on the Penna insurance pays for his insurance. So it's kind of like it's a wash. I don't really pay for insurance then. It is nice. It's very nice. Individual health care covers only the employee. So when you guys first get out on your own, if you're not married or no kids yet, you'll have individual. It's going to cover just you, which obviously is cheaper than a family plan. Do you know what the cost you pay each month for insurance is called? Besides a lot. Do you know the word? Pension's part of retirement. Your premium. If you ever hear people say about like their premiums went up or whatever for insurance, that's referring to the money that you pay each month to actually just have it. That's not you actually using it, it's just to have it. It's called your premiums. For car insurance, it's the same thing. It's called a premium. It's the amount you pay every single month just to have it, just in case. It went down? That's good. Are you 18? Did you get a different car? That could be part of it. That's why. Truck's going to have higher insurance. What color is your car? That's going to be higher. Get a different color and it will drop. A male, 17-year-old male driving a red car, they assume will drive faster. It's stupid. Yeah, the color of your car has bearing on your insurance. Yeah. Your insurance is probably pretty cheap. not bad.
Yeah. How much are you paying? Like 140.
That's why.
And yeah,
That's why.
I kind of vacuumed somebody's car, and I'm getting $400 plus per year on my even though I speed everywhere else, but it's like
Don't get yourself caught. Elena. Because he got in an accident? Depends. Could. Was the accident his fault or someone else's? So, yeah, his insurance will probably go up. Yeah. All right, guys. So, an amount that you have to pay before your plan, I can't talk today, will cover the care beyond your benefits is called your deductible. And deductibles, like your insurance will say set a certain amount, and they're not going to pay for anything until you've paid that amount. And once you've paid whatever that amount is, then they'll cover everything else after that. Which could be not so bad if you only have like I know a lot of times for like car insurance, you might have like a $250 or $500 deductible. You guys look at your insurance plans, whatever you have. But for health insurance, it's usually a lot higher than that, depending on your plan. Now, for me, with my husband's insurance, we have a $0 deductible. Our insurance covers everything. I don't pay anything. Okay? But most insurance plans aren't like that anymore. I keep waiting every time, like every year they like renegotiate his contracts and their insurance. I keep waiting for that to change. So far, it hasn't. But once you hit whatever that deductible amount is, then your insurance starts paying for things. So if you have a really high deductible, your insurance may never pay for anything, depending what you have done that year. All right? Copay, it's a flat fee that you pay whenever care is provided. Counts towards your deductible. So like for me, we do have copays, even though I don't have a deductible amount. Every time I take my kids to the doctor when they're sick, it costs me 10 bucks. That's it. Now, I know a lot of people, normal is usually $20 to $30 deductible. So every time your parents take you to the doctor, maybe ask your parents, what's your deductible? What's your copay for me? If they take you to the doctor when you're sick, like Noah should have went to the doctor with 104 temperature, you know, they would have had to pay for that. All right. And then a percent of the charge of care that you pay is called a coinsurance. And again, depends on your plan, whether you have this or not. I do not have this on my plan. But for a coinsurance, they may say even after you reach your deductible, you still pay a certain percentage of all of your care. So maybe you still pay 15% of whatever the bill is. It just depends on how your insurance is set up. So this changes dramatically based on who you are, where you work, if it's a single plan, a family plan, and whatever else. Okay, so some types of health insurance plans. Again, me starting out, my very first job, I had no idea. They're like, hey, you have insurance. I'm like, great. Is that good? Is it bad? I had no idea. So one type is an HMO. If you guys have heard that terminology before, it's called a health maintenance organization. Health services delivered through a network of providers or facilities. You will still pay premiums, which is every month you pay for insurance. A deductible, so you have to hit a certain amount before your insurance pays anything. You will pay a copay. Every time I go to the doctor, I still have to pay 10, 23 bucks, whatever it is. And then you may or may not have coinsurance. So some positives, some negatives. Preventative care is usually free. So like I take my kids in, you know, every year, they get shots and things like that. All that stuff is free no matter what. That's preventative. Least amount of paperwork compared to other plans. So you don't have a lot of paperwork that goes with this. But it has the least amount of freedom in choosing your health care provider. Like you have a list of doctors, you have to go to one on the list. Okay? So if you live in the area and you go to doctors around the area, you're probably fine. But if you're somebody who likes to see specialists and go, you know, further away for doctors, like my dad just Friday where I wasn't here, I took him up to U of M. He had surgery up there. You know, that may not be any typical plan. Right? And a lot of times you need a referral from your doctor to go see a specialist. And you can only see doctors in your network, otherwise you have to pay the full bill. So if you don't choose from the list and you decide to go somewhere else, they're not covering it. You're paying for everything out of pocket. So, you know, it's not a lot of paperwork, you know, could be okay plan, but as long as you pick from a list of doctors. All right, next kind is a PPO, Preferred Provider Organization. Health services delivered through a network of providers again. You still pay your premiums, deductible, copay, or coinsurance, so you still have all of that. Preventative care is usually free on these as well. You have a moderate freedom in choosing your healthcare provider, so the list just got a lot bigger. Okay, instead of a narrow list, you have a huge wide list that you can choose from. And you don't need a referral to see a specialist. I want to go to a dermatologist, I got something going on with your skin, you can go, you don't have to have your doctor refer you. You can just go on your own. It does have more paperwork compared to other plans if you see someone out of network, but again, my list is now this big to choose from, so chances are you'll probably stay within that list. And there's higher out-of-pocket costs to see someone out of network. Again, if you don't choose someone on the list, you pay a lot more. And then HDHP, High Deductible Health Plan. Before I came to Penn, I taught at Findlay, and this is what we had, a high deductible plan, which was terrible, especially when you have kids, because they go to the doctor a lot. High deductible, you have a really, really high deductible that you have to meet before your insurance pays anything. The reason people like these is they don't have their premiums, the amount they pay every month. Mine was nothing. I didn't pay anything every month for it. But my deductible was really high. I think for our family, it was like $4,800. So my insurance didn't pay anything until I paid $4,800 out of pocket for the year. And then for the rest of the year, they went ahead and paid it. So if you ever hear people reference, like, I hit my deductible, I'm going to get everything done I possibly can before the year's out, I've heard people mention that. It's because they hit that amount where now the insurance pays everything else after that until the end of the year. So they're like, any blood work I need done, surgeries I need done, like, I'm going to do them now because my insurance is going to cover everything. Okay. So again, preventative care is usually free. With most insurance, it usually is. It does have a lower premium. Again, I paid nothing per month because I had a high deductible. Sometimes you may pay just very little for your insurance. It usually has a health savings account, an HSA. That's just a special savings account that you can put money in that can only be used then towards health things. So like for me, since I didn't pay a premium every month I put money into my HSA, my health savings account, because the advantage to that is you don't pay taxes on that money. Any money you put in that account, the government does not tax you on. And we'll talk about that in the next chapter. Okay, so it's kind of nice they don't tax you on any of that money. One pro is you're in control of a lot more of your plan. You have the freedom to shop around, go where you want, find the best rates, but it's more to keep track of then too. Deductibles at least $1,300 for an individual and $2,600 for family, but it will not be more than $6,550 for an individual and $13,100 for a family. That's what you'd have to pay for the year before your insurance would cover anything. That's a lot. Mm-hmm. No. You just pay whatever your premium is every month. Deductible is just, here's your limit you got to hit before we pay anything. Now, if your deductible is $13,100, and let's say you got up to like $12,000 by the end of the year, but you hadn't quite hit it, guess what happens come January? You start all over again at zero. You have to build it, pay it back up again. So that's why a lot of people, hey, look, I hit my deductible. Let's get everything done while I can. That's why people do that. May or may not have co-pays or co-insurance, so you just have to really kind of look at that. So there's a lot of insurance stuff there. My biggest thing for you guys is that you at least understand a premium you pay every single month. That's just the cost of having your insurance. And then deductible is that amount that you have to hit before your insurance pays anything. Okay, those are like some big concepts of insurance that I did not know when I graduated high school. All right. So required benefits is unemployment insurance, a government program that offers benefits to eligible employees who, through no fault of their own, have become unemployed. So these workers will receive temporary assistance and must be looking for employment. So you lost your job, something happened, they fired you, whatever it may be. You do have unemployment insurance if something would happen. Okay? All right, and then workers' compensation somebody talked about. There it is. Workers' comp program offers assistance to employees who are injured while working at their job. You ran? Did you slip and fall? I believe they would be. What'd you hurt? So do they pay for your doctor bills? Yeah. That's nice, though. They went ahead and took care of that, right? Yep, that's workers' comp. All right, so here we go. Let's actually kind of look at some of the math. And again, guys, take good notes here as we go through these examples. Some of these can get a little tricky, okay? All right, so number one, Alan has worked for a printing company a little over 4 years. He now makes $54,080 per year. When he was hired, he was told that he had 5 days of paid vacation time. For each year that he worked at the company, he would gain another 2 days of paid vacation time to a maximum of 20 days. So in other words, he's never going to actually earn more than 20 days, no matter how long he's there. All right, how many paid vacation days does he now get at the end of 4 years of employment? And then how much money will he earn while he is on vacation? All right, so we have to kind of break this down. There's a lot of info in here. All right, so when he was hired, he was told that he had 5 days. So right off the bat, you're hired, you get 5 days of vacation. Now, 5 days, is that a whole week? Yes. Think about a work week. A work week is 5 days. Typically, it's Monday through Friday. Brett, do I need to take that from you? Do I need to take that from you? Put it away. All right. For each year that he works, he would gain another 2 days. All right. So for each, there it is. For each year, he gets 2 more days of vacation. All right. How many paid vacation days does he now get at the end of 4 years of employment? So it's been 4 years. How many days does he have? Well, I heard lots of different things. Well, how many days did he get right off the bat? He got 5. And then we add on to that 2 days for every year. How many years does he work there? So that's 13 days. So really, that's like 2.5 weeks, right? Because you think about 5 days as a work week. Okay? So he will have 13 days of vacation. Questions on how we found that part? Next part's a little tricky. How much money will he earn while he's on vacation? So what do I need to figure out? I know how much he makes for the year. Every week or every day? Because we're going to take this back to days. Divide by what? 365? Does he work every single day of the year? We're not going to worry about holidays per se, but we're going to worry about those 5-day work weeks. Say that again. Why 260? There are 52 weeks, and we work 5 days per week. So you should work 260 days a year. You were on the right track. You were getting there. All right? Sure. All right, so you got to stop and think, how many days a year does he work? Don't do 365. I don't know about you. I don't want to work every day of the year. I need a day off. I need days off. All right? So $5,000 or $54,080. That's how much he makes per year. Divide that by 260. What's this going to tell me? How much he makes per day, which is 208. You're good. Questions on what we did there? Because that one, you don't always stop and think, like, wait a minute. You're like, oh, yeah, changing for how much he makes per year to days. Yeah, divide by 365. Yeah, be careful. We don't work 365. All right? We work 260 days. All right, so if I make $208 a day, how much would he make on vacation? Well, I heard 2 different answers there. So we then have to multiply. He has 13 days of vacation, and he makes $208 per day. He's going to make $2,704. That's how much he'd make if he took all 13 days of vacation. Yeah, it makes it so you're on vacation, enjoy yourself, yet you still get paid. It's kind of nice. All right, questions on that one? Okay, the trickiest part, make note, you're going to see questions like this again where you have to worry about how many days a year you're working. All right, number 2. Frida's employer offers her family health care as an employee benefit. Frida must contribute 12% of the cost. So Frida must contribute 12%. And her employer covers the rest. And that's typically how things are kind of done. You pay a certain percent of your insurance for the year, your employer picks up the rest of it. Which is why for Penna, it's cheaper for them to just pay me cash to get me to get off theirs, because it's going to be less than them paying for my insurance. All right, Frida gets paid on a bi-weekly basis. So how many pays is this? That's 26 pays. She notices that $88.50 is taken out of each paycheck. For her portion of the family health care coverage. How much does Frida's employer contribute for her coverage? Now, there are different ways to set up these problems. You can set them up more equation-based. You can set them up more proportion-based. And I don't know what you might think is the easiest, what your instincts are, your math background. I don't know you guys well enough yet to be able to determine that. I'm going to go ahead and show this to you set up as a proportion. Okay? I'm going to set these up as a percent over, what's a perfect percent? Percent over 100. 100's a perfect percent, right? So in other words, part over the whole, right? Her part of it over the whole thing. That's how we set these up. Part over whole. So that's what I want you to kind of be thinking about when we're setting these up. Because, you know, she's paying part of her insurance, right? So anytime you have something where I'm giving you a problem where somebody's paying part and I want to know like the other part of it, right? Frida pays 12%. That's just part of her insurance. So anytime they're asking about a part, this is what I want you to think about. Percent over 100 equals part over whole. Because her part is out of the 100% of the entire cost, right? So she's 12%. So 12 over 100. You guys know proportions, they have to be set up equivalent to each other, right? Like it's percent over 100, that's a part over whole equals a part over whole. All right, Frida gets paid bi-weekly. $88.50 is taken out of each paycheck. So what do we have to do to figure out her part? Now we're talking for the whole year, right? She pays 12% of the year. If $88.50 is only, that's not the whole year. We're going to have to figure out what's 26 times $88.50. That's going to be how much she pays for the year. Okay? That's where we need to start. 2,301. This is Frida's part for the year. All right, questions so far? I just figured out how much Frida actually pays for the year. All right, so when we're setting up proportions, this is 12% is Frida's part over the whole cost. Frida's part over the whole cost. So Frida's part then would be on top, 2301. 12% is Frida, that's Frida. This is her percent, this is her dollar figure. So Frida's on top in both of these. The part I don't know is how much is all together here. I don't know the whole part. Do you guys remember how to solve a proportion? Cross multiply and divide. All right, you're going to multiply 2301 times 100. And then you divide that by 12. So what do we get as x? Say that again. Good. Is that how much your employer pays? What is that? That's the whole cost. We did part over whole. She pays $23.01 of the whole cost of $19,000. Her insurance actually costs over $19,000 for the year, just in premium, right? So how much did the question asks, how much does her employer contribute? What do I have to do with that? Subtract. Yep, this is the total cost. So if we subtract off Frida's, right, this is Frida's cost, we're left with just what the employer pays, which is $16,874. I told you guys, today the math gets a little, there's a lot going on. Now, did I do anything more than multiply and divide? No. Math-wise, that wasn't really the hard part. It's just being able to kind of reason through what we're doing. That's the hard part, yeah, the reasoning through it. All right, so anytime a question's asking about a part, right? I know what Frida's part was. I don't know her employer's part. You want to think percent over 100 equals part over whole, okay? Let's try another one. I need to be excited. All right, at Richardson Manufacturing Company, there are two factors that determine the cost of health care. If an employee makes less than $55,000 per year, he pays $60 a month for individual, $115 per month for family coverage. Okay, but if an employee makes at least $55,000 a year, meaning $55,000 or more, individual is $90 per month and family is $165. So if you make less, they're going to charge you less for your insurance. You make more, they're going to charge you more. So Ariel is an office assistant at Richardson. She makes $47,700 per year. So which part does she fall in, the first info or the second? The first, right? She's making $47,700. That's going to put her in the less than $55,000 category. It says she has individual health care. Well, since she makes less than $55,000, $60 per month for individual. So Ariel's paying $60 per month. Her yearly contribution is 5% of the total cost of the health care policy. How much does her employer contribute? All right, so can you see that this is a part question? Right, we're going to set this up still as the percent over 100 equals part over whole. Because she pays only a part of it. She's only paying 5%. All right, so let's go ahead and see if we can figure all this out. All right, so my percent I'm going to write down is 5 over 100 equals her part. What does she pay? Why 720? Good. We need to change this. 60 is per month. There are 12 months in the year. Okay, now the last one had told you it was bi-weekly, and they told you. This one's telling you it's $60 per month. So just be careful which terminology you're using so you can kind of change that to a year. So that is $720 per year. This is Ariel. That's Ariel's part. So if 5% is Ariel's part of the whole, then 720 is Ariel's part of the whole cost. Again, I'm comparing apples to apples here. Her part is 5%, her part is $720. It's always Ariel's part. Okay? So to solve this, cross multiply, 720 times 100, and then divide that by 5. So 14,400. What did I just find? The total, right? This is the total cost. So the question wanted, what does her employer contribute? Well, we know the total is 14,400, and I know Ariel does 720. Subtract. So her employer then is going to pay, good, $13,680. All right, we've done two like that, or how are we feeling? So making a little more sense? Part over whole, I hope. Again, I know this is a little tricky. I get it. All right, same top part, part B. Okay, Catherine's a department manager at Richardson. Her annual salary is $68,300. So does she fall in the first part or the second part? Does she make at least $55,000? Yep. So she's going to fall underneath that the higher prices. She has family health care. So what does she pay per month? Family coverage is $165 per month. $165 per month. Her employer contributes $935 per month towards her total coverage cost. What percent does Catherine contribute toward her total coverage? All right, we got a couple different things going on here. Can we set this up the same way? All right, the fact that her employer contributes $935 per month, do I need that? I know how much she pays per month, right? What's the question asking me about? What percent does Catherine? Notice the question changed. It's asking for a percent this time. Right? On that last question, it didn't ask me for the percent. The last question asked me how much did they contribute. So my unknown was in the dollar side of my problem. This time my unknown is in that percent side. All right, so I'm still setting this stuff up as percent over 100 equals part over whole. So the question's asking about percent that Catherine contributes. Okay, so the percent is my unknown. They didn't give me any percentages either. I have nothing there. So the percent I don't know equals part over whole. Do we know the whole cost? We can do the math. I know that she pays $165, right? This is Catherine. And we know her employer pays how much? $935. So what's the total? Well, if I'm just adding these, my per month is 1,100. No, you're fine. So were you changing that to, did you change that to the year? The year? Okay. I'll go with that. There's another way to do this, but I'll go with yours. So you did 1,100 and you changed it to 13,200. Okay, so you multiplied by 12 to change it to 13,200 for the year. Okay, we can do it that way. 13,200. That's the whole cost, right? The whole is always on the bottom. Do we know what her part was? Yeah. She's 165 per month. Do I put 165 up there? This was year. You're going to have to multiply that. 165 times 12. Since you changed the bottom number to the year, you need to change the top number to the year, which is 1980. All right, before we keep going, I'll make sure we understood what we all just did. Okay? So the question asks, what percent does Catherine contribute? So my unknown is the percentage for Catherine. So if the top is Catherine's percent, the top over here should be Catherine's dollar figure. Okay? Catherine's here, Catherine's here. It has to be the same, and I'm on both sides. So Catherine for the year, she pays not $165 a month. We just changed that times 12. She pays $1980 for the year. The whole cost for her insurance, we knew how much her employer paid per month too, which was $1,100 altogether then. We went ahead and multiplied by 12. We got the whole cost for the year. So this is whole cost for Catherine for the year, whole cost altogether for the year. So we have everything changed to the year. All right, we go cross multiply 1980 times 100. Good. And then we're going to divide that by 13,200. We get x equals 15. What did I just find? The percent. So Catherine pays 15% of her insurance. Now, notice I sat my paper down. I said, sure, we can do it that way. And I went with you. Did I have to change both of those to the year? I could have done them by the month. I could have. Since I had enough info, I knew how much Catherine paid per month, and I knew the total per month. This is per month. I could have compared month over month. You guys went ahead and switched year over year, totally fine. As long as the units match, it's totally fine. Possible. And that just means you got to convert one. Like we did on the other ones, we converted how much it was like bi-weekly, we changed it to the year. Okay, so just make sure it matches. If you're talking years, make sure they're both years. Talking months, make sure they're both months. I won't do that. I won't do that. All right, guys. Question number 4. All right, Marina is the director of the Washington Performing Arts Center. Her employer offers a pension. Marina's employer uses a formula to calculate the pension. So pension's kind of like an extra little bonus retirement money, okay? All right, so Marina is planning on retiring at the end of this year after 25 years of employment. So let's make note, she's working 25 years. Most people work at least 30, so she's retiring early. All right, a retiring employee receives 1.5% of his or her average salary for the last 5 years of employment multiplied by the number of years worked. So you take 1.5% of whatever your average salary was for the last 5 years, and then you multiply that by how many years you worked. Marina would receive this amount each year until her death. Until she dies. Every year she gets that amount. She didn't die yet until she dies. Her salary for the last 5 years are, and there's 5 salaries. Calculate Marina's pension. I'm not. It does not say she died. Oh my gosh. All right. So guys, let's kind of look back through here. She receives 1.5% of her average salary for the last 5 years. So what's the first thing I need to find? Her average salary. How do you find an average? Add them up and then divide. So I need to add 88,900 plus 92,200 plus 96,000 plus 98,000 plus 102,000. We're going to add those all up and then divide by 5. So what was her average salary? $95,420. All right, so that is her average, right? It said average, you add them all up, divide by 5. I had 5 years. Okay, that was her average salary. So it said she receives 1.5% of the average salary. So we're going to multiply this by 1.5%, which is what as a decimal? 0.015. All right, she receives 1.5% of her average salary, which should give you $1,431.30. multiplying by 0.015. We don't ever divide by a percentage, okay? No, don't do that. All right. Is that it? That's all she gets? No? 1.5% of the average for the last 5 years multiplied by the number of years worked. She worked 25 years. We have to multiply that by 25. And we get $35,782.50. So every year until she dies, she's not dead, she will get that much money as a pension. Yes? If she had something set up to this effect, yes, she would. I hope she did too. All right, questions on this and how we kind of, this is one you just got to read carefully. There's a lot of info. We got to pull it out one piece at a time, okay? All right, number 5. Number 5, in Reese's state, the weekly unemployment compensation is 60% of the 26-week average for the 2 highest salaried quarters. A quarter is 3 consecutive months. So let's just stop right there for a minute, because there's a lot of stuff in there you're going, what? Okay. All right, you get 60%. You know how to do that. 26 weeks. How long is 26 weeks? That's half a year, which is how many months? 6 months. So it says the 26-week average of the 2 highest salaried quarters. A quarter is 3 consecutive months. So if I have 1 quarter is 3 months, and a second quarter is 3 months, that's, hold on, it says the 2 highest quarters. So 2 quarters, a quarter is 3 months. So it's 6 months. How many weeks is 6 months? 26. Everything coincides together, okay? So the fact that they're telling you 26-week average, that's fine. It's 2 highest quarters, that's fine, because it's all 26 weeks. It's 6 months, which is 26 weeks. It all matches, okay? So don't get hung up on all of it. It all matches. All right, for July, August, and September, they earn $9,024. October, November, December earn $9,800. Determine Reese's unemployment compensation. So we need to figure out how much money he's getting every week, right? Well, it says the average of the 2 highest quarters. So they gave us 2 quarters. I need to average them. So 9,024 plus 9,800. And you are going to divide by what? Try again. 26. All right? Because it is talking about weekly unemployment. I need to change this back to weeks. This is 26 weeks. Okay, that's why we divide by 26, not 2. If I divided it by 2, you'd find me his average for 3 months. That's what you would have found for me. Not helpful. All right, so how much is his average per week? 724. That is the average per week. But he doesn't get all of that money. You only get 60% for unemployment, which is a true statement. You don't, for unemployment, you don't get exactly how much you made. You get a percentage of that. So what do I got to do with the 724? Do what with it? Do you ever divide by a percentage?
Yes.
No. Multiply by 60%. Multiply, multiply. Right? So $434.40. What? You can multiply it by something and then add that number on, but you're not ever just adding a percentage. You multiply. So did I find how much Reese made per week? Yes. Yes, I did. Okay. So guys, whenever you're seeing, you'll see questions like this come up again. If it gives you, it says a 26-week average, you're always dividing by 26. Okay. So if you see that, just know that you're going to divide by 26. All right, number 6. Wanda lives in the same state as Reese. Her weekly employment compensation is $360. What were the total 26-week earnings for her highest 2 consecutive quarters of employment? So in this case, it's kind of working a little backwards. So it's still 60% that you get, right? I still get 60%. Well, what did we do? If you look back at this one, this was your average per week, which is what this next question is asking me for. It's asking what its average was. So we took the average and multiplied it by 60% to get the total, right? Can I use that same idea here? I can take the 60% and I can multiply that by the average per week, and I should get how much money, which was $360. So do you see I still set up like the last one, I just didn't know a different part of this one. So how do I actually solve this equation then? How do you solve for x? I have 0.60x equals 360. How do you solve for x? And we divide. I'm solving an equation. So we get 600 per week. What'd the question ask you? What were the total 26-week earnings? I have to multiply by 26. So 15,600. So this problem was a complete reversal of the last one. Complete reversal. Okay? Since it asked what were the total 26-week earnings, we solved that and found the weekly was 600. Then for 26 weeks, we had to multiply by 26. Jonas. That's going to be smaller. I don't have anything to cross multiply. I don't have a ratio. And number 7, last one, guys. Laura also lives in the same state. Laura made the same weekly salary for each of the 26 weeks in her 2 highest consecutive quarters. Guys, I need you to pay attention because you're going to ask me questions later and I'm not going to answer you because you didn't pay attention now. Okay. She will receive a weekly unemployment compensation check for $570. What was Laura's weekly salary when she worked for her company? So what percent does she get? Right, she gets 60%. Right, she says she works for the same company, so she gets 60%, just like the other 2 problems. She will receive a weekly unemployment compensation check for $570. So what did we do before? Is this a work backwards one? Mm-hmm. We took 60% of whatever her weekly salary was, and that should equal 570. So it's similar to the last one we did. So we have to divide by, right? So 0.60 at, ooh, I just wrote that backwards. So 0.60x equals 570. Divide by 0.60. 950. That's per week. Now the last problem multiplied by 26. Do I multiply this one by 26? No, that question asks what was Laura's weekly salary? She made $950 a week when she was employed, but now she's only making $570. That's it for that one. You just got to be careful what it's asking for. The previous problem asked for what were the total 26-week earnings. So it wanted it for the entire 26 weeks. This one just asked, what was her weekly salary? Just wanted 1 week. Okay, so just be careful on what it's asking for. Jonas. Yeah, technically. But I needed you to know where it came from. Okay. As long as your work makes sense, yes, that's fine. Other questions?